Hello, language facilitators, and welcome back to another episode of the Language Facilitation Helpline podcast and live video version here on the Waves of Communication channel. This is going to be my last live podcast for a while because I'm changing the format. So, if you're interested in chiming in and your last opportunity to join me live for a while, this is it. You're welcome to chime in today. I'm going to be talking about some differences, some big changes that are going on. In fact, here's the topic today. We're talking about sudden changes. This is what's going on the platform because what I'm hearing is that kids are making snap changes. They're stopping talking. They're starting brand new behaviors that they never showed before. Parents are freaking out and having to pull out discipline, feeling like they've got to correct these communication behaviors. And I'm also going to be talking about how the platform's changing a little bit and how it's getting more personal. In fact, I've got opportunities coming up in November that you can meet me in person. So stay tuned on this video to learn about how that's going to happen. All right. So what we're going to be doing first is talking about these changes and why did it happen that these kids are suddenly changing, and it's because the environment is changing. We know that a lot of these late talkers have been enrolled into preschools, therapy programs, things like that, because they have been diagnosed, labeled, categorized in the pool of kids who are late talking. And they may have, because they are late talking, received another diagnosis like autism spectrum disorder or ADHD or even some sort of developmental delay, general developmental delay classification so that they could be put into those classrooms. Now, a lot of those classifications, in fact, all of them are very general. Because they're trying to handle these systems, the influx of all the children who are coming. And if we're now well into the school year, we've just had parent teacher conference time come up. If it hasn't happened in the past week, it's probably going to happen in the next week because in the United States, at least, they like to get these things done before the holidays roll in. And in the United States, we've got the Thanksgiving holidays coming already. I know in Asia, you've had Diwali, and there are, people, these schools, they don't want to mix holiday time with what's going on to, your child's issues and problems and situations that aren't working well for them in these programs. Now, remember, a lot of late talkers, different reasons for their late talking have been generally categorized into these things, and they're not matching. So here's the number one thing. If your child is showing you some brand new behavior that you've never seen before, and it's replacing the communication that was working in your home, that communication may have been words that your child was using regularly with you. It may be that they were coming to get you. They were responding to your directions, and now those things have stopped, right? So the speech, the signs that spoken language is developing are declining and new behaviors are coming up. Tantrums. Your child might be getting physically aggressive. These are the things that trigger this worry in parents, and that's why it's happening. When your child changes, you wonder, where did it come from? Now, here's the trick about all these changes is they are coming. If you see rapid changes, it's either a sudden environmental change, a massive trauma that happens that triggers that change, or it is over time frustrating situations that recur over and over and over again in the late talker's life. They've had it. They've exploded. They've hit their limit, and you're hearing it. And so those parents that are desperate and wanting to pull out discipline because your child is doing things that are not cool. They're biting, they're hitting, they're using language that's not kind. They're evil. It doesn't matter how old they are and what level of spoken language they are using. If they are experiencing either one, a big trauma in their life, or two, consistent, repeated, frustrating situations, they're going to hit their limit. And it is time now in the academic calendar for teachers to be hitting their limit, kids to be hitting their limit, parents to be hitting their limit, because it's time for change. The situation was set up as an experiment. Your child was put into these situations as an experiment. They're trying to see if it works out. I don't know how many of you may have been told by some professional when you enrolled your child in that therapy school program, whatever it was, that we're going to wait and see what happens. And now you're seeing what happens. And it's not good. So you've got a choice. Do you continue what you clearly can see right now is not working? Or do you make a massive change that's going to eliminate either the trauma from that one big traumatic thing that caused your kid to shut down, or eliminate the repeated frustrating situations that are going on in the child's life? One of those two things has to happen for the child to change in a positive way. Because remember, the negative changes, the things that you are frustrated, that you want to discipline away, that you are tempted to want to smack your child back because they smack you in the face. You're tempted to want to yell at your child because they're yelling at you. Remember, they're mirroring behavior. And if you've had them in schools where there have been other kids who are late talking, those other kids have brought their own nonverbal language, limited verbal language with them to school, and they're using it. And your late talker is observing. They're watching all of that that's going on, and they're changing their spoken language use, their whatever it is in their development of it, to include these communication behaviors and messages, which is what they are. They're including them into your life because they want you to hear these messages. And if you're not responding to the messages, you're wanting to shut them down or discipline them away, they're only going to get bigger because the child doesn't want, they never stop wanting to share their messages with you. So they're just going to keep trying harder. Now, this is a really good sign, right? It's a good sign when you see a big change in your child because it means that they are open to change, that they are changeable, that they can adapt and are in fact adapting to their environment. They're just putting up their defense mechanisms. They're realizing that this is their reality, this school, this place that you're sending them to, and they're coping with it in their best way. And remember, if they're receiving frustrating situations over and over and over, they're going to bring that home. Just like you, if you go to work or your partner goes to work and it's a toxic environment, frustrating situation over and over and over, or it could be one major thing. Your boss blew up at you in front of the whole, community at your work, or you got or you got fired. Even something like that happened right in front of everybody where it literally traumatized your life. You're going to bring that energy out everywhere you go in the world. And so these systems, if it's not the right fit, you're going to see it in your child. And then the other thing that parents might be tempted to do in this desperation mode, because you're trying to change your child's behavior, you realize you can't do that. So now you're going to try to change the school, and you're going to try to change them, and you're going to try their behavior to eliminate the frustrating situation. And I've got news for you. That is going to be very, very challenging for you, because you have been given the opportunity to understand how this shift is guiding you to make the big change yourself, to respond to the big changes that you see in your child and adapt them to your life so you can use them for yourself, right? To create and take advantage of this changeable mindset and model what the child needs, right? They're telling you with these messages, with these behaviors, what they want, what they need, how you can help them, how they are not being helped and supported. They're sharing their frustration with you every single day through these behaviors that you want to squash. So the idea here with natural intuitive speech facilitation is that you dig in to these behaviors, you work with these behaviors, and there are videos all across the platform that talk about how to do that. Look for the keywords of triggers. In fact, there's a whole playlist that is called Frustrating Communication Behaviors. And it's everything from isolation to aggression that you're going to see in there. And the reality is, this is going on because your late talker is asking you to respond to them. And so when you show up and you do respond with guidance, support, equipping and empower them to deal with these situations and really save them from them, eliminate these situations that are frustrating. You cannot change the situation, but you can leave it and create a new one. And that's why my platform is changing, because I know that there are parents who are still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You keep sending your kids to these places that are not resonating with them. And that's why you see the behaviors you see. Now, I know a lot of my audience might not be in that pool, but you might know somebody or you might see that around you. If your child is going to the school and the other kids are keyed up in their behaviors, what do you think your late talker is going to observe? They pick up, they're so sensitive when they see that the other children around them are frustrated. They can't even concentrate on their own work because they're really connected to their environment. If you're a language facilitator at home and you every day, every minute you've got with your late talker, you're connecting, you're inviting them into the bathroom with you, you're inviting them into the kitchen with you, you're talking with them in the car, and you are showing them the value of connection every day at home. And then you send them to a place where they don't. They don't value connection. They make them sit in a chair. They don't respond to their communication. They consistently try to shut them down. And then they tell you that you need to change your child who is responding to you at home, who is responding in the car, who is doing those things, or at least they did until you sent them to these other places where they saw that there was an alternative. You're confusing them potentially by doing beautiful, integrated, connective experiences at home and then sending them out into the world where they see that that's not their reality. They don't know which one to trust, right? It's confusing and it causes anxiety. And when you see anxiety, you'll see it in behavior. That's it. You'll see your child isolate or get aggressive. And because these are the only things that parents respond to when you are triggered, and it has to be big enough. So if the behaviors are big, that means it's been coming on for a while. And if you've been talking to the school about things aren't good, things need to change, my child's not happy here, and you're getting stonewalled from them, that means that they can't. They don't have the resources to change for you. They don't have the knowledge to change for you. They don't have the space. They don't have the time. They don't have the helpers. They can't. If they did, remember, what you signed up for in that school was the experience where all those things were going to happen for your child. And it's not happening. It's breaking down. That's why we see it, okay? These systems were not created for a post-pandemic level of late talking children. All they have is labels, diagnoses, and special education isolated programs. More and more and more. sending your kids aside, separating these late talkers and sticking them all together in a frustrating situation where they don't have people who are connecting with them, and modeling advanced spoken language. So this is the situation that you need to create. Even if you've got your child at a Montessori school where they're responding to their individual academics, but they're letting them do it independently and not in a connected cooperative learning experience. That's what you're creating at home, is cooperative learning, not just he needs better toys or he needs more time with working things out on his own and just encouragement, rah, rah, rah. That's not what these late talkers need. They need facilitation. They need guidance through every single activity of their life, because the ones that are consistently frustrating and or big gigantic triggers in their life are going to make them take steps back. You're going to get 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. The same thing happens with a physiological illness. So if you've got seasonal allergies that are popping up and they're not being addressed and your child is decreasing, and then you're seeing different behaviors, it means that they're telling you, I need you to respond to these physical symptoms that are in my life. It's physical, environmental, and then it turns into the mindset of I can't, I won't, and I don't. And when kids feel I can't, I won't, and I don't, they don't. They don't try. They don't work hard. They regress. They go back to old nonverbal communication that they know worked when they were a tiny baby, screaming, crying, those things, because those were the things that triggered the people around them to take the right action. Okay? So this is why kids are changing. The environment is changing and people aren't helping them adapt and or respond to it. Okay? And feel good in that, not just learn to adapt by accommodating that situation or obedience, right? This is helping your child learn to thrive in a learning community, show up every day being a curious participant who wants to listen to the teacher and explore with their friends and not isolate because their friends are communicating with hitting and biting at school. Okay? And they don't like that. So they're going to isolate and go into their own mind. And that's what's happening. All right. So thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and listening to that situation about what is going on in the world. I know that things are changing on the platform here, and it's not so open, show up and get coaching every week, because, again, I am restricting the idea of you working with me, because the idea is that you need to learn this independently. And when you get practiced, when you figure out that, hey, language facilitation is what I need, then it is time to make an investment in getting the connection and coaching that you need. Because if you can do it on your own, great. But if not, don't waste your time anymore floundering around. That's how you access my new resources to get on track and see better improvement. These resources were written from experiences of people who around the world, it's happened all the way from New York to Australia, all around the world, people are literally changing, leaving these programs that their kids are not happy in, that are not successful, that are causing them to bring their frustration home. And they're working with their kids at home to get them to the point where maybe they can go back to school, or because the school isn't helping them get ready for school. You can do this yourself, and you can use the resources like my guide and go directly to the issue that your particular child is they're shutting the door on. He won't sit, he won't talk, he won't stop talking. He's annoying his friends, he's getting up to leave the room. All of those things that you're hearing from the teacher. This isn't working, your child is broken, these things are happening. And they're pushing the special education, because in their regular education inclusive classroom, they can't handle your child. And that's what you feel like. I can't handle them. Everybody who wants to handle these kids is suffering right now, because these kids don't want to be handled. They want to be helped. They want to be included. They want to be cooperatively taught and not robot trained or forced into compliance because the teacher can't handle them. You need to be in a place where you can facilitate their improvement and coordination and cooperation for cooperative learning. And then you can send them to school and they'll be great kids at school. They'll love school. You can help them learn to love school. And if school's not good right now, I know in a lot of places, especially here in the United States, parents are not feeling that school is good right now. And I know it's happening around the world too, especially in Australia. And that's why it is, I'm so happy to announce that that's my next location I'm going to be traveling. I've had a few very big ups and downs. Talk about big changes. I was supposed to go to Washington, D.C., and that got canceled so that I could write this guide for you. And so it doesn't matter if you need to connect with me right now and you want to connect with me right now, but you don't have the money or you don't have the funds to enroll in my coaching programs. This is like a coaching program in your pocket. You can access this guide, you can link into the videos, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work. And when you realize what's going on to cause these breakdowns in your house, in your community, in your whatever, this guide will help you go there. And then the workbook will guide you to help you get you step by step through the process. These are the tools that I have created for you so that you get off of YouTube and is Marci going to answer my question today? Or am I going to do it this time? Or, I'm really worried about my progress. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. You don't need to worry anymore. It's wasting your time. It's wasting your child's time. They need you to get good at this now. And it's not that hard. It's just a matter of making the shift, moms and dads, from these desperation mindset, like I just want to smack my kid because he won't stop smacking me. Then figure out why he's smacking you and facilitate the change in that behavior. That child who's smacking you is the one who needs to give up smacking. And you're going to see on interviews this week, I've done some amazing interviews with two people, moms of late talkers who live in Australia and have worked around the system to help their kids make improvements. So you're really going to love that. And what's really exciting is now that I'm going to Australia, you can meet up with me and actually practice natural speech facilitation together out in the community. And this trip, I am meeting families in Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne. I've got families in all three cities who are working with me as clients. That's why I'm going to see them, because it's been years for some of them. And some of them have kids with real physiological brain disorders and chronic physiological illnesses. And then others are kids who are late talking Einstein syndrome, little kids that are being labeled in the systems and things like that. So you're going to see interviews with all of them. And I'm meeting them out in the world where language facilitation happens. So instead of just on Zoom talking about what we're doing, we're going to get to practice together. And here's how: there's two opportunities. So I don't have a Sydney meetup planned, but I am going to be there at the beginning of the month, the first week of the month. But I'm meeting with three families in Sydney. And so I've got a lot of stuff planned. If you live in Sydney, let me know. But these other meetups are going to already planned out in the community with families, and you can join us. So these Aussies, hello Aussies, I cannot wait to come to Australia to meet you. I get very excited. So this animal adventure is going to be in Brisbane. And if you know in Brisbane, you know Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary. It's very famous, and I can't wait to go. And we're going to be talking about the animals and exploring language facilitation right there at the sanctuary with the koalas and the kangaroos, while we get to feed them and talk about and learn about safety and learn about being in public and learn about reading signs and how to have a really nice experience and facilitate a ton of new speech at the koala sanctuary with the animals. And if you live in Melbourne, so in Melbourne, we're going to be talking about the fish. So you Aussies in Melbourne are welcome to meet me on Monday, November 14th at 11:30 a.m. at the Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium. And again, bring your child, join me there. I love aquariums. I volunteer at an aquarium here in Florida in the United States where I live, and I want to learn all about it and see. I know that so many of your kids, in fact, one of the kids that the meetups that we're going to see there is Magic Barclay's kids. Her son, her youngest, who is an animal freak. In fact, he's in his 20s now. He was told, his mom was told by doctors when he was a child that he had severe low functioning autism, when in fact he has super high functioning autism. He's an Einstein syndrome little guy. His brother has Asperger's syndrome, and these kids are chatterboxes. This kid is talking. He does his own animal rescue. And so we're going to meet and talk about the wildlife. We're going to talk about how kids are excited and their superpowers surrounding animals, because I myself love animals. And it's a really easy way to facilitate spoken language out in the community. So you're going to see some videos surrounding some of those experiences if you can't join us in Australia. And who knows, the next country I'm going to be going to could be one where you can join me and meet up in public and practice language facilitation in person together. So we get to meet each other. Now that the world is open up, let's get out and tell everybody, because while we're out there, I know that other families are going to see us talking and explaining and following our kids' leads and talking about how excited they are about the animals. And if they have late talking kids in their life, they're going to see us and they're going to learn from our experience. So it's sort of like instead of a live video, we're going to have real live public experiences where language facilitation is happening. People see how successful it is, and it becomes more normalized in society. And that's really my goal. So I look forward to seeing all of you on future trips. Someone says they're how amazing. I think it's going to be great. Stay tuned. First of all, you're going to see these two interviews from Haley and Magic Barclay, who are amazing language facilitators who have made massive shifts in their own life, these moms, and as a result, their kids have also made massive shifts. So if you're struggling with being stuck right now, feeling the regression, feeling the breakdown going around you, you're going to love the content. So be sure you subscribe. And then, if you do want to join me live, I promise you there still is a way. This is just the last public way. So what happens next is you join my membership community. There are levels of membership that you can join to get to the solutions you need. It's a lot less expensive than the programs that I have on my website, working with me here on YouTube. And then again, meet me out in the community. It's that investment you've got to make to schedule the time to show up when I'm there. You've got to be there with your kiddo, and you've got to be ready to listen and learn and engage with your child, because I'm not going to work with your child. I mean, I'll be talking to them, but again, you're going to learn from my experience. It's the coolest opportunity I've ever offered, and I can't wait to start doing it. And Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane are just the beginning. Every time I travel to a new city to visit the clients that are working with me in my Waves of Communication community, I'm going to offer this opportunity somewhere out in the community for you to join me. If your city is, you want your city to be on that list, comment on this video. Where do you think that I should go next, that I can get out in the community? And how do you feel? Where in the community do you feel would be the best place for us to go? Animals, beach, mountains, whatever is cool and interesting for kids. I think at museums, I love all those ideas. Tell me where you live. Tell me where you want to go. And who knows, I could be motivated to get there and really show the world how cool language facilitation is and how it works everywhere. So this is my plan. Thank you for riding through all these waves of changes for me. It is massive, sudden changes here on the Waves of Communication platform in response to what's going on in the community. So don't worry if it's breaking down around you. It's your opportunity to get new options, take advantage of new options. They're a lot less expensive than paying some professional who doesn't know your child to try to work with them. Learn how to do it yourself. The resources are here. I'm here to support you, and I'll see you all in the next one. So if you want to join me live, definitely it's going to be at the same time, 11 a.m. It's just not going to be public anymore. So you'll see podcast episodes come up, but live Q&A is members only. So come join me in the community. Come join these successful families who took the plunge, made the investment. Get over the worry about what's breaking down. It's not good for you anyway. There's better options available. I'm here to support you, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.